Hello everyone. This is Dr. Anjali Srivastava, retired zoology professor, Shikshet Women's College, with my YouTube channel, Adarsh. In our last video, we have seen the general organization, anatomy, and histology of the ovary and the general anatomy and organization of the female reproductive system. Now, today we are continuing with the same topic, that is the endocrinal part of the female reproductive system, physiological role of female hormones, and the regulation of the female reproductive cycle, basically the menstrual cycle. In my last video, I have just mentioned you that the female reproductive system that shows the puberty and the pubertal age in the female is between 11 to 16 years of age, with the development of the secondary sexual characters like the development of bones, muscles, breasts, then thinning of voice and many psychological changes. That begins with the development of the oogenesis, that is development of ovum within the ovary. That this menstruation brings about the periodic shedding of uterine lining, and that is also called as the periods. This is an overall cycle of 28 days, including 3 phases: the follicular phase, ovulatory phase, and the luteal phase. So, so before we start the production and the action of all these female reproductive hormones, just have a quick look. There are 6 major hormones that are secreted by the female reproductive organs, as well as the brain and the pituitary. As we have seen when we were doing the male reproductive hormones, there are this endocrinal part begins with the hypothalamus, the brain, the brain, at the floor of the dancephalon, there is the anterior pituitary, where this hypothalamus releases the GnRH, gonadotropic releasing hormone, as was being done in the males. This gonadotropic hormone acts on anterior pituitary, releasing one by one, not all these 6 hormones are released by the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is stimulated to produce the follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, and in turn, these FSH and LH, they act on the ovaries, the developing follicles here, and these developing follicles, they produce the estrogen, then progesterone, and estrogen. Under the action of estrogen and progesterone, that corpus luteum is produced. This corpus luteum, it produces the progesterone, inhibin, relaxin, and certain other hormones, that is the repetition of estrogen itself. So now, exactly like we have seen, we have done during the male reproductive hormones, we will see how these hormones, they themselves control their production, release, and in that way they show the negative feedback mechanism. So we are going to have a very quick look in one slide. इस स्लाइड में मैं बहुत शॉर्ट में फीमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव हार्मोन्स और उनका रेगुलेशन, उनका रिलीज, उनका स्टॉपेज थोड़ा बहुत शॉर्ट में बता के उसका नेक्स्ट स्लाइड्स में in these 2 slides we will see how in a graphical manner किस तरह एक ग्राफ में different hormones कब बढ़ते हैं, कब घटते हैं, इंटर रिलेशनशिप क्या है उनका, एंड देन एज यूजुअल जो आपका नोट बनाने के लिए आपका पार्ट है, that literature part I have given in a number of slides of this PowerPoint presentation that will help you in preparing your note. So let's start with the female reproductive hormones as seen during the male reproductive hormones. एक बार हम यहाँ just let's have a very quick look ताकि आपको समझने में आसानी हो सके. ये same diagram का second half जो male reproductive hormone हमने last video में देखा था. This is the hypothalamus region जहाँ से GnRH, that is gonadotropin hormone release हो रहा है blood stream के through. Anterior pituitary में पहुंच रहा है, anterior pituitary से LH and FSH luteinizing hormone and follicular stimulating hormone, exactly like the hormones released in the males. They are reaching here. In females, the reproductive gonad is ovary. It is these two hormones, they reach the ovary. In the ovary, there are developing follicles at the different stages of oogenesis. That is the development of ovum. The basic difference is here. In male gonad, a large number of spermatozoa are produced at a time, whereas in case of female ovary, there are developing follicles. जो मैंने पहले भी बताया था आपको कि करीब 7 लाख प्राइमोडियल फॉलिकल्स एक बार में ही एक तो फीमेल की बॉडी में ओवरी में डेवलप होते हैं. उनमें से काफी रिड्यूस होते होते एक फीमेल की बॉडी में ओवरऑल जो रिप्रोडक्टिव साइकिल है उसमें अगर हम इन शॉर्ट देखें तो 300 से 400 ही एग्स प्रोड्यूस करने की कैपेसिटी होती है थ्रू आउट द लाइफ, जो मेच्योर होते हैं, और वो भी एक एक करके होते हैं. एक साइकिल में एक ओवम या एग एक बार में प्रोड्यूस होता है. एंड दैट इज the before the puberty, hypothalamus and pituitary are very sensitive to negative feedback signals from testosterone and estrogen. During puberty, the sensitivity of the hypothalamus and pituitary to this negative feedback decreases. The levels typically seen in adults. This change allows an increase in the production of testosterone and estrogen that stimulates the development of secondary sexual characters. That is the folliculogenesis or oogenesis. So let us, in the previous video also we have seen कि by default हमेशा female embryo produce होता है, but हमेशा fetus के development में XY chromosome जहाँ sex determination के लिए responsible है, वहाँ hormonal balance ज़्यादा responsible है sex के determination के लिए in the developed baby of the, or the child. This because estrogen or the androgen are the hormones that are having the estradiols that have the effects, combined effects, and that may cause the reversal effects during, especially in female hormones. After a certain time, the female hormones का production cease होने लगता है, और उस दौरान बहुत ज़्यादा chances होते हैं कि androgen का appearance होने लगे और कुछ rheumatism की तरह के diseases appear होने लगे. So the sex-related diseases in female that we will see in the third video. Let us come to our main topic. So this is gonadotropic hormone, anterior pituitary, FSH, LH. These are acting on maturation, oogenesis, and then oogenesis. During the oogenesis, estrogen is produced. Estrogen के production से control से ovulation proceed होता है, फिर progesterone secrete होता है, and these are the estrogen and progesterone. When these together, they secrete as well as control the female reproductive features of the female. So let us start with the, in very short, let us start. This is the hypothalamus. This is the brain. It is releasing GnRH, the gonadotropic hormone. Gonadotropic hormone. This is acting on the anterior pituitary, secreting luteinizing hormone and follicular stimulating hormone. Now these luteinizing hormone and the follicular stimulating hormone, they reach the ovary where the developing different stages of the developing follicles are there. This is the primary follicle. In the previous class, we have seen secondary follicle. And at this stage, in secondary and tertiary follicle, जब Brachyan follicle के develop होने के पहले, these FSH and LH, they work together, and then अगर हम एकदम शॉर्ट में बिल्कुल एक कंटिन्यूअस स्टोरी लाइन की तरह स्टोरी को कहें तो LH काम करता है FSH के साथ मिलकर के डेवलपिंग फॉलिकल्स पे. दिस इज द प्राइमरी फॉलिकल, this is the secondary follicle. Now this then the tertiary follicle, and ultimately the Graafian follicle is formed, where the single mature ovum is there lodged in the antrum. इसके detailed story हम लोग detailed structure we have already seen in the last class. We are here concerned with the hormonal part only. So let us start with the hormonal part. अगर हम एक ग्राफ के रूप में देखें तो LH, that is the luteinizing hormone, along with FSH, that is follicular stimulating hormone, it regulates the stimulates the ovulatory process, that is the development of the follicles with the advent of the puberty. And this primary oocyte or the primary follicle starts developing into the secondary follicle. The histological structures we have already seen. Along with the histological structure, this is secondary and tertiary follicles, they start secreting another hormone, that is the estrogen. This estrogen is very equivalent to androgen of the male reproductive hormone. This estrogen has got very important role. First of all, it exerts when it starts its production by these developing follicles, that reaches the peak with the formation of the Graafian follicle or the mature follicle, and when it starts its high reach, जैसे जैसे इसका level बढ़ना शुरू होता है, it shows first of all a negative effect on the production of LH by the anterior pituitary. And on one hand, it is showing negative effect on the anterior pituitary, decreasing the LH rise, and in this way, side by side, this is the GnRH. This is having a steady growth. अगर हम इसको ग्राफ में देखें तो x और y axis है. This is on y axis. This is the concentration of blood level. ब्लड लेवल का कंसंट्रेशन यहाँ पे है. दिस इज वाई एक्सिस. और एक्स एक्सिस पर द डेज, नंबर ऑफ डेज, 0 to 7, 7 to 10, 10 to 14, 14 to 21, 21 to 28. So up to 10 it is the follicular level, follicular stage. 10 to 14 is the ovulatory stage. 15 to 28 is the luteal phase. So in 3 phases we can divide this menstrual cycle. Now this is the condition of the different hormones. यहाँ पे अगर हम short में देखें तो ये gonadotropic hormone, it is released in a steady way, and it is in a steady increase till the 10th day. 10वें दिन तक GnRH में एक steady growth observe किया जाता है. And side by side, this FSH, this is the follicle stimulating hormone. It shows slight increase and then slow dropping. 10th day के आसपास, 7th to 10th day के बीच में इसमें एक sudden drop, it drops to slowly, and this is the LH. This LH shows a steady growth till 10th of day. And now why this is the steady growth is because this steady growth is because here this estrogen, once when it has started oogenesis के advent के साथ estrogen जब secrete हो रहा है तो ये negative effect show कर रहा है anterior pituitary जो LH produce कर रहा है उस पे, जबकि GnRH positive effect produce कर रहा है. Due to GnRH there is the positive effect on the production of LH. So under control of GnRH, and this GnRH is enhancing or stimulating the LH growth, and estrogen is inhibiting or controlling the LH growth. So this graph is here. This is the steady growth in LH, whereas FSH is increased condition, and initially follicular stimulating hormone oogenesis को इंक्रीज करता है, फॉलिकुलर डेवलपमेंट को इंक्रीज करता है, और उसके बाद इमीडिएट फॉल बैक ऑब्जर्व किया जाता है बिकॉज ऑफ दिस नेगेटिव इफेक्ट ऑफ एस्ट्रोजन ऑन दिस LH. LH का कंसंट्रेशन कम होने लगता है, and that results into the dropping of FSH concentration into the ovarian follicle, because as I have already told you, we have already seen कि एक बार में कुछ हार्मोन करीब 20 से 25 follicles डेवलप करना शुरू करते हैं, and the Graafian follicle at a time, actually tertiary level तक भी 10 to 15 follicles डेवलप करते हैं, बट उसके बाद immediately after 10 days के करीब पहुंचने के आसपास this LH or the luteinizing hormone control is suddenly at a high level. It suddenly increases, bringing about or surging the ovulation, and this sudden increase causes due to the seizing or control of the FSH production. ये follicles का development slow होने लगता है, और उसकी वजह है FSH का प्रोडक्शन कम होने लगता है. LH को जब हेल किया जाता है स्टेडी लेवल पे, तो उसके साथ साथ follicular stimulating hormone or FSH comes down to some extent, and when this FSH comes down, it enhances the LH production as well as the estrogen also. जो we have seen कि estrogen भी produce हो रहा है, और LH का GnRH भी LH को प्रोड्यूस करता है. तो 10th डे के आसपास sudden increase is observed in LH, and that reaches at peak on 14th day, causing the ovulation. That is Graafian follicle में rupture करता है, ovum बाहर आता है, and that releases this. Here the release of this ovum comes out in the 14th day. That is called as the ovulation. So ovulation brought under control of LH and estrogen. So estrogen altogether working in three important ways. First, negative control of LH. Second, FSH को enhance करता है, ovum maturation को enhance करता है, और एस्ट्रोजन लेवल जैसे ही फॉल होने लगता है, सीज होने लगता है, फॉलिकल्स को ओवम मैच्योरेशन को एनहांस करता है, फर्दर फॉलिकल डेवलपमेंट को सीज करता है, फॉलिकल डेवलपमेंट सीज्ड, एंड दैट causes the sudden increase in LH resulting into ovulation. That takes place about 14th day. करीब 14th day में, on 14th day ovulation takes place with the sudden increase in rise of LH, and immediately after the ovulation, when the ovum is released, suddenly the Graafian follicle is constricted into the wrinkles. जैसे ही ovum बाहर आता है, उसके बाद, if you remember the histological structure we have seen, 14th day में ovulation होता है इस तरह से, उसके बाद एक wrinkles पड़ने लगते हैं. The ovum is released here with the zona pellucida and strata radiata. This is the ovum or egg, and this is the corpus luteum. This corpus luteum is also called as yellow body. Its detailed structure we have seen in the last class. So once the ovulation occurred here, this corpus luteum is formed, and with the formation of the corpus luteum, there is the sharp decline in this LH. This is the green color is LH. तेजी से decline करता है luteinizing hormone, GnRH भी कम होने लगता है क्योंकि एफएस फॉलिकुलर स्टिमुलेटिंग हार्मोन का लेवल को भी कंट्रोल करता है. Estrogen, all these activities are now under the control of estrogen secreted by the ovulating Graafian follicle. That this FSH is also it comes down when ovulation is under process. Then FSH also increases to some level. Then it comes down, and till the 28th day, it maintains a steady level, and after that, the new cycle is going to begin. So this is the first graph. Now, this is the second graph. Here, the action of estrogen and progesterone we can see very distinctly. So this is the estrogen is produced here. This is the short chart. Hypothalamus, GnRH, LH, FSH. LH and FSH, they enhance the oogenesis. Then primary and secondary follicles are formed. Then estrogen is produced. This estrogen is showing the negative effect on the LH. With the LH control, the FSH is also controlled. Follicular development is ceased, and then estrogen rises after 10 days. 10 days के बाद एस्ट्रोजन का लेवल इंक्रीज होता है. जैसे ही एफएसएच का डेवलपमेंट कम होने लगता है, एस्ट्रोजन लेवल बढ़ता है, और एस्ट्रोजन लेवल बढ़ने के साथ ओव्यूलेशन होता है. ओव्यूलेशन के साथ कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम बनता है. एंड नाउ दिस एस्ट्रोजन हैज three important characters: development of secondary sexual characters, then endometrial growth. यूटेरस में पहुंचता है. यूटेरस की एंडोमेट्रियम को प्रिपेयर करने लगता है कि अगर फर्टिलाइजेशन होता है तो इम्प्लांटेशन के लिए एम्ब्रियो को तैयार करता है, एंड एलएच लेवल को कंट्रोल करता है. नाउ these all changes take place in 10 days. Now, after 10 days, the estrogen level rises, FSH drops, LH inhibits, and the next stages are now this corpus luteum is formed. This estrogen has three effects. It produces estrogen. This corpus luteum, sorry, this will be corpus luteum. Corpus luteum ban chuka, ovulation ho chuka. Now the corpus luteum is formed, and now this corpus luteum will produce three hormones again. Estrogen, rather four hormones. Corpus luteum produces four hormones. Estrogen, that is, और फिर से ऑस्ट्रोजन को सिक्रीट करता है थोड़ा और, क्योंकि ऑस्ट्रोजन को अब आगे की जितने भी चेंजेस हैं, जितने भी रिप्रोडक्टिव चेंजेस हैं, उनको कंट्रोल करना है विद कंप्लीटली सीजिंग द फॉलिकुलर स्टिमुलेटिंग हार्मोन, क्योंकि अब फॉलिकल्स को बिल्कुल सीज करना है ताकि 14 डेज के बाद ल्यूटियल फेज में कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम अब अपने चेंजेस शो करेगा. और उसमें फर्स्ट चेंज होता है द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ दीज फोर हार्मोन्स: एस्ट्रोजन, इनहिबिन, प्रोजेस्टेरॉन and relaxin. Estrogen, it shows negative effect on FSH. अभी पूरी तरह से FSH को सीज करता है डेवलप करना. सेकेंडरी सेक्सुअल कैरेक्टर्स को कंट्रोल करता है. बहुत सारे साइकोलॉजिकल चेंजेस को कंट्रोल करता है. यूटेरस के एंडोमेट्रियल लाइनिंग को मेंटेन करता है. स्टार्ट्स स्टिमुलेटिंग if implantation takes place, if fertilization takes place, then fertilized embryo will implant into the uterus. And then progesterone, this is a very important pregnancy hormone. This hormone corpus luteum के बनने के बाद के जितने भी changes होते हैं, अगर fertilization नहीं होता है तो करीब 14 to 28 days पीक पे रहता है प्रोजेस्टेरॉन का सिक्रीशन 21st डे तक. और उस दौरान एंडोमेट्रियल लाइनिंग काफी एक्टिवेट हो जाता है, म्यूकस ग्लैंड्स एक्टिवेट हो जाते हैं. एंड नाउ इन द fallopian tube, that the released ovum is encaptured or held with in form of these fibrillae. इस तरह से हमने देखा था कि दिस इज द fallopian tube. यहाँ पे ओवरी है, इनकी फिम्बरी जो है फिंगर लाइक प्रोजेक्शंस की सहायता से ये ओवा को रिसीव करते हैं, यहाँ से रप्चर करता है, और यहाँ पे दिस इज द साइट ऑफ fertilization once the ovum is released, and then it reaches the uterus. And if fertilization is going to take place, if not, then along with the endometrial lining and heavy amount of mucus, it will be shedded off. That is called as the menstruation. Now, this is the progesterone, the four hormones secreted by corpus luteum. Inhibin. Now, this inhibin inhibits complete प्रोडक्शन ऑफ एफएसएच एफएसएच को बिल्कुल इनहिबिट कर देता है ताकि फॉलिकुलर डेवलपमेंट पूरी तरह से सीज्ड हो जाए और तब प्रोजेस्टेरॉन का एक्शन शुरू होता है एंड द लैटर डेवलपमेंट टेक प्लेस दैट इज corpus luteum is secreting the progesterone, that is secreting these four hormones, that and then it is this inhibin that shows negative effect on hypothalamus brain पर एक्ट करता है और ब्रेन से कंप्लीट सीज कर देता है एलएच एंड एफएसएच का सिक्रेशन को एलएच को रिड्यूस करता है और एफएसएच को कंप्लीट बंद कर देता है दैट रिजल्ट्स इन डिक्रीज इन एस्ट्रोजन फाइनली तो फॉलिकुलर डेवलपमेंट अब 14th डे के बाद कंप्लीटली सीज्ड है एंड इन द नेक्स्ट 14 days the progesterone is going to show its control. Now, if there is no fertilization, then this corpus luteum starts degenerating into the white body, that is the corpus albicans. That we have, this also we have seen in the last class. Now, this progesterone inhibin estrogen का actions हम लोग देख लिए. अगर fertilization नहीं होता है, then the progesterone level starts to decrease. और जैसे जैसे प्रोजेस्टेरॉन डिक्रीज होता चला जाता है that decrease results into the increase of gonadotropic hormone. Progesterone का और related estrogen, progesterone, estrogen, inhibin, इन सब चीजों, इन सभी हार्मोन्स का सिक्रेशन कम होने लगता है और उनकी वजह से पॉजिटिव इफेक्ट होता है फिर से हाइपोथैलेमस पे to secrete more GnRH, that is the gonadotropin hormone, and this gonadotropin hormone starts the new cycle on the acts on anterior pituitary, releasing LH and FSH, and thus the new cycle begins. So this is the fate when there is no pregnancy. Fertilization अगर नहीं होता है तो ये fate होता है. And these are the progesterone के corpus luteum के hormones का situation. This is the estrogen. It rises, then comes down, seizing the follicle or ovulation processes. Inhibin stops the FSH again, and this is the progesterone, which is on peak on 21st day. This corpus luteum degenerates progesterone, decreases GnRH level, and new cycle begins. Then when this level increases, the new cycle begins. So this is how this menstrual cycle goes on. Now let us see quickly that these details in certain in form of certain wordings with the in these slides. This is the details: the follicular phase, then ovulation phase, and then luteal phase. These are the changes. ये different hormones का level का concentration है. Now these are the graphs that we have already seen in two graphs, the different levels of different hormones and related changes into the uterine condition. ये female reproductive system में यहाँ पे menstruation हो रहा है. इसके बाद proliferative phase में proliferation शुरू होता है, oogenesis शुरू होता है. oogenesis के बाद ovulation होता है, mature follicle ovulate करता है. Then the secretory phase, that is the secretion of corpus luteum. ovulation के बाद corpus luteum बनता है. corpus luteum के hormones secretory phase में, this is the uterus, इसके endometrium को तैयार करते हैं. अगर fertilization नहीं होता है, zygote यहाँ नहीं पहुंचता है, तो ये एंड्रोमेट्रियम डीजेनरेट होने लगता है क्योंकि अब यह प्रोजेस्टेरॉन का सिक्रेशन कम हो चुका है. प्रोजेस्टेरॉन का सिक्रेशन जब धीमा होने लगता है तो एंड्रोमेट्रियम की जो डेवलपमेंट हुआ है उसको रिटेन करना उसको उस यूट्राइन वॉल के लिए पॉसिबल नहीं होता है, तो वो डीजेनरेट होने लगता है अलॉन्ग विथ हेवी अमाउंट ऑफ ब्लड वेसल्स and mucus secreted by the mucus glands, and this whole amount with the unfertilized ovum, then endometrium endometrial lining, heavy mucus, heavy blood vessels that comes out in form of menstruation or the weeping of the degenerated ova, it is also called as. So this is the overall reproductive cycle divided into different phases. You can go through these slides. Ovulatory phases, the changes are taking in the ovulatory phases. These are the changes in ovulatory phases. That is the follicular tubule के fimbriae receive करते हैं discharge ovum को, and within prior to ovulation, many women notice increase in white cervical mucus. So these are the details of the your answer. When you can take all these points in for preparing your note. All these points almost we have seen. Now the specific hormone that we haven't yet seen, if fertilization takes place. Now up to here menstrual cycle तब होता है जब हमने देखा कि fertilization नहीं हो रहा है. फर्टिलाइजेशन नहीं हो रहा है तो एंडोमेट्रियम डिजेनरेट हो जाएगा यूट्रस का, और वो 28 डेज के साइकिल में बाहर it will come out through the vaginal opening in form along with the heavy amount of blood. The second case is if fertilization takes place. If fertilization takes place, embryo is formed, then embryo comes in the uterus, in जो uterine endometrium activated हुआ है progesterone से, that will receive the fetus, and then the pregnancy will appear. Now these pregnancy changes, it has during pregnancy. Now, so this is the ovulatory phase and this is the luteal phase. These changes we have seen. अब हम देख, we have seen all these changes. अगर fertilization होता है तो progesterone का secretion होता रहेगा, and that will result into the complete seizure of the LH and FSH. So inhibiting the further development of follicles till the fertilization and the pregnancy changes are going on, that are under control of the different types of hormones secreted and controlled by the progesterone itself. Progesterone खुद भी अभी हमने देखा कि 4 तरह के हार्मोन सिक्रीट करता है. Estrogen itself, more progesterone, inhibin, and relaxin. Now, when the pregnancy takes place, all related changes all pregnancy-related changes are controlled by the progesterone, and then in case of human, further pregnancy changes include the development of a specific structure that is called as placenta, जो developing embryo को nutrition provide करता है. तो relaxin is specifically syllabus में specifically mention किया हुआ relaxin को. Otherwise, अगर menstrual cycle, basic reproductive cycle हम देखें तो relaxin is not having so much importance, but there are different views. According to some of the endocrinologists, relaxin is still having importance in the last days of the menstrual cycle. That is, it controls the endometrial degeneration and the mood swing and other psychological changes are brought about due to this relaxin. However, very much बहुत known facts relaxin के बारे में अभी तक नहीं known है. It is a hormone relating to the group of the insulin. Insulin की तरह का ये hormone है, and it controls, it shows its main function is during the process of child growth. Muscles को release करता है, relax करता है relaxin during child birth. जब बेबी के बर्थ के समय pubic region में जितने भी muscles हैं उनके relaxation को बेबी को बाहर निकालने के child birth के दौरान relaxin plays very important role. So those details are given here. This relaxin creates the glow of pregnancy, significantly adding development of fetus, physical impact of exercise and physical activities of body. These are a number of effects shown by the relaxin hormone that is secreted by the ovary and the placenta. Part from ovary, part from the placenta. Now, these are the actions of relaxin. What type of changes this relaxin shows? Highest level in first trimester. This is implantation of developing fetus is also brought about by under the control of relaxin. In early pregnancy, relaxin inhibits contraction of wall of uterus. शुरू के stages में ये relaxin control करके रखता है muscles को ताकि miscarriage prevent हो सके. It releases the mother's cardiovascular and renal systems also. The relaxin does not only control the pregnancy and the pregnancy releases or the childbirth, rather it also controls the mother's cardiovascular and renal system also to increase demand for oxygen nutrient for developing fetus. Toward the end of pregnancy, relaxin promotes rupture of membranes surrounding the fetus and the growth opening, the softening of cervix and vagina to aid the process of childbirth. So these are the actions of relaxin. Control of relaxin releases humans is not fully understood. These details you can go through. Relaxin के बारे में बहुत सारी चीजें अभी भी जानना बाकी हैं. वो सिर्फ प्रेगनेंसी को ही नहीं कंट्रोल करता है, बहुत सारे डिफरेंट सिस्टम्स को, हार्ट डिजीज को, ब्लड प्रेशर को भी. इट हैज बीन ऑब्जर्व कि किडनी, हार्ट, लंग, लीवर, इन ऑर्गन्स के भी फंक्शनिंग को रिलैक्सिन हार्मोन कंट्रोल करता है. So the role of relaxin in normal and abnormal uterine function during the menstrual cycle and early pregnancy. These are the effect of relaxin during the early pregnancy changes, and then in the late pregnancy, the birth control is completely under the control of this relaxin. So these are certain diagrams illustrating the relaxin hormones. See, your dotted lines, these are other than the pregnancy or the childbirth related characters of or actions of relaxin, and these complete lines are specifically related with the pregnancy related changes in the female. So with this ends the development of and the physiological role of hormones, rather female reproductive hormones. So with this ends this slide, this video, this class. In the next class, we will discuss about certain particular diseases given in your syllabus related to these hormones production or underproduction. One more very important point I would like to come under your attention, that in the next class by Tuesday, some of the students have asked to take the online class on whether they should go for a research or PhD after MSc or not. तो मैं अब मेरी स्टूडेंट्स इस पे फिजिकली तो नहीं, ऑनलाइन ही वो अटेंड करेंगी, बट वो क्लास करके they want to have a one-to-one discussion on this point. So most probably on Tuesday between 3 to 4 p.m. we are going to have this class. If you are interested, you can write in chat box. I'll give you the link. On Zoom link, we will meet on Tuesday. So till then, bye-bye. Do like, share, and subscribe my channel. Press the bell icon to get notified about the upcoming videos. Thank you, students. Thank you so much.